Hi, everyone. We're very excited to chat with you a little bit about fostering and foster to adoption. When Lisa and I first looked into this, we were on YouTube all the time looking up videos and trying to learn as much as we could.
Mhm.
So, and now we've been doing this for a while, and so we thought other people may benefit from our videos. So, my name's Cody. This is my
I'm Lisa.
beloved wife here, Lisa, and we live in Arizona. We've been fostering for um, almost 20 months, and we have just some questions here that we thought we would kind of walk through that might answer some of the questions that people have. So I'll ask the question, and then Lisa will take it, and then I'll kind of jump in. We'll just kind of walk through both of this here. So. Oh, I'll also add, we have 4 biological kids.
How old were they when we started this?
So our oldest was 10, and then 8, 6, and 4. So we had 4 kids. So the first question is, why did you do this? You already have 4 kids. Why would you do this?
That's a good question.
Tell me that.
It was just too easy. No, I'm just kidding. This is actually something that when we were dating, we had played around just talking about the idea that maybe we'll adopt the last kid. And then we never spoke about that again. I had 4 C-sections that definitely played a part. We could definitely have more kids, but didn't think it was a wise thing to do.
Yeah,
But
when our first son came, we and he had to be born C-section. We were told that it might be best to have
might
all
limit the number.
C-sections, and it might limit that number. And I remember talking with Lisa about the idea. I was like, "Oh, maybe we'll just adopt." So I came
We'd
from
always had 5 in our head.
yeah, 5 was this
number.
random number, but I had 8 kids in my family. Lisa had 3, and I don't know if that
Five
is
is
why,
kind of the
but
middle.
5 was the number. We're like 5. We're gonna have 5 kids, which isn't necessarily how it works out. But anyway, so it was. What else was it?
So yeah, here we are. Our youngest was just about to start kindergarten, and life would be changing, and we're just kind of, are we really done? Are we, And I had been seeing, well, I think we've been looking up just randomly Wednesday's Child, the thing on the news that showed the kids are needing a family. And then I took it a step further and looked into the classes, and they offered the
I think
classes
it was I
monthly.
who looked into the classes.
It was me. I had it pulled
You
up.
took it a step further. I
can
took it
prove
a
this
step
with
further.
emails. I can.
So,
And every time the class came up monthly,
so
something
things
was
were
busy.
going well. Things were going well. There was a time where I felt like work is great. I love my job, and church I was fine. I didn't have a calling that made me do a whole lot, so I just had time on my hands, and things seemed to be getting easy, and we were getting ready. Lisa had been at home with the kids, and it had been a while, and I don't know. So I looked up Child Crisis Arizona, and anyway, I guess we both did. But anyway, we kind of looked it up.
Months before we actually.
Yeah, we started like just looking into it, watching videos, thinking about it, and this next question, how did you begin the process, kind of flows into that. So
as far as agencies go, they all kind of follow the same format, the foster adopt college. And so we didn't really look around at too many agencies because we figured they all taught the same thing, but we love our agency. And it's a series of
6 weeks of training, in-person training,
and it was 3 hours a night.
Online training.
We used it as a date night. We would just, do our 3 hours of classes and go out to dinner, and we could at that time because our kids were older.
Yeah, and at first when we went there, we kind of just went to see. They talked about the different options, and so we thought maybe we could go and
Cody
be like.
was very careful to say, we're just going to see if we can help fostering somehow, like maybe just hang out with
maybe
kids
like
for a couple
Big
hours
Brother,
a month.
have someone over, or have invite them with the kids, or I don't know, something. And so we looked
I
into
knew
kind of
we'd
the
get sucked in.
options. We looked into the options, and next thing we knew, we were signed up. But it did take a few months to kind of think about that. And
I liked the classes. It was fun. There was people from all walks of life and all different reasonings for going into it. Some were there to foster, some were there to adopt. We went for adoption only. And when they ever talked about the idea of or adopting more than one child, I just kind of just tuned it out
well, of
because we
course,
were
yeah.
just there for one.
No, our plan was to adopt one. And yeah, so what we were planning to do is, in Arizona and in other states, there are many kids who are ready to be adopted already. So that means they've already gone through the foster process, and
or the case is so clear cut
yeah,
that
the
they
case
know
is
it's
almost at
be led
adoption.
to separate.
So anyway, the kids are waiting to be adopted. And so that's what our plan was. We're like, well, let's just do that. We'll get on the list and then jump in and adopt someone that
and we were looking for a kid, I think we said between the ages of 3 and 5. We wanted them younger than our youngest kid, because there's always the worry of if sexual abuse, or just different worries, and we just thought it'd be more comforting to have older siblings. And we worried about rooting Tate out of his youngest position, but
yeah, although now after the fact, I don't know that that's necessarily a huge worry. I mean, some people do worry about that, but I don't. It works. It works.
Thought process.
Some people, yeah, at the time that is what we were thinking. We're like, we want to have one, but there's a lot of times people make that work. So it just really depends on you and what your thoughts and feelings are. But for us, we're like, we'd like one to.
And our thoughts and things that we thought we could handle changed a lot over the process.
Yeah. So they had us fill out a form, and it was like, what kind of a child, that sounds terrible, but what kind of a child are you willing to take? So there's some kids have differing levels of abilities, and others have different behaviors.
Have physical needs, some have more mental needs.
Yeah.
Some are.
And so you kind of mark that off. Are you okay with this? And if
and they even have like race, age, and sex on there, and they say to be honest, like they weren't judgmental at all. They said, if this is going to work, we really want to make a good match for your family. So
yeah, because what they don't want is to have a child be what they call disrupted, which is when a child is in a placement home, and then they're like, never mind, we're done, and then the child has to go to another family. It adds more
trauma to the kid, and
that's terrible for the kids.
It's just another uprooting.
So did you have second thoughts?
Second, third, fourth, fifth definitely. And those classes were really frank. They took you through all sorts of training for kids who had horrible backgrounds and have been abused, and they can't often articulate what's going on in their brains or the loss that they feel, so they'll act it out in behaviors and things like that. So we went expecting it to be really hard, and it is in a way, but
they really teach you the worst of the worst, in the training, so that you're kind of thinking about that. One of the things that helped me was knowing that there were back out options, which of course they don't promote, but knowing that if you did, because our plan was to just go straight to adoption, and that was our plan. We had no intentions of fostering. And so the idea was, it's kind of an interesting process. They have what they call a red file, which is all the workers that know that child and know their needs. They kind of look at 5 different families, and they look at their folder and their little book and everything. We actually put together a little book about our family here that we were going to use for that. And then they kind of look through it, and they can be like, would this child be a good fit for this family? And so that's what the idea is.
Some kids would do better having no siblings, or some kids shouldn't have pets, or things like that.
Yep. And so, and as they're talking about that, what they essentially do is they call you and they say, hey, there's a child that's this age, and and they tell you just a tiny bit of information. It's not
Yeah,
very much.
we got
We got
one
a couple of
call,
those,
or
and we got a
two
couple.
calls.
I
Yeah.
think we got two,
I think we
and they're like, "Here's a little bit of information about them. Are you interested?" And if
like their names, the sex
their
and
race
their
and
race.
sex,
That
and
was
that was
it.
about it. And then
And then
yeah,
they'll
that was
say
about it.
like, we'll let you know if you're one of the, not finalists, but we'll let you know if you're one of
Moving
the,
forward.
yeah.
And so they're like, "Are you
something, but
interested?" And then
we just said yes.
we're like, "Sure, why not? You know, all right."
How
And
can you tell
then the
from-
idea is, if it was a yes and they matched us, which
give
they
you-
didn't for these two, neither of these did at that time. But then if they match you, then you actually get like some more documents on them, more
Was the first
information about
one
them.
a
And then they
sibling set?
finally show you a picture of them. So you don't even see a picture of
Until
them
after you
until
say
after
yes.
you say yes. So then when you get that information and you're like, "All right, great, we're still doing this." And then you get a meet with the family that's fostering them, because again, these kids are already in foster care. They're already getting ready to be adopted. And so then you meet them, you hang out with them, then eventually they come over to your house, you move them over, and then you have to foster them at least 6 months before you can even adopt them, to make sure that it's a good fit and everything. It's really just to make sure that you're good to go. But they are very clear that if you're saying yes, you should really take the kids. It's not like, "Oh, let me try this out. And if not, because it's really damaging," as we mentioned, the disruption. So the expectation is you do take the kid. But because I knew that there was an out if things were really going bad, that helped me move forward, because I thought, I wouldn't want to do that. But if it was just a disaster, then there is an out. You have 6 months of fostering before you actually adopt. So that to me helped. Even though I thought I probably wouldn't be able to convince Lisa to do anything.
No,
Anyway.
once I said
Anyway.
yes, that would be it.
So what did our family say about this idea of fostering or adopting?
I think everyone thinks the same things when they hear someone's going into something like this. And I remember knowing a friend back when we lived in Idaho that was mentioning fostering, and immediately I had my questions, just like, how is this going to affect your kids, your other kids? She had other kids as well. Why are you doing it? Is this because you can't have kids, or is this something that you've really thought out? What if they poison you? What if they kill you in your sleep? There's just so many things you hear. But
what about your other kids? How are they going to feel?
Yeah.
And there's
for me, I just didn't want it to appear like that 4 kids was so easy, because it wasn't. 4 kids wasn't easy. It was something that we felt compelled to do.
Yeah.
Like once we started talking about it and stuff, the thought just didn't leave our heads, and we just knew this was in our future.
Yeah, and it was interesting when we were going through the training. There are some changes that you have to make to your house in order to do this. So there's a whole booklet of things that you had to do. So we had to we got rid of our trampoline. We had to either fix our broken trampoline guard or get rid of it. So we bagged our trampoline. And we had to get a pool fence, and we had to get fire alarms. We had fire alarms, but we had to get one in every single room everywhere. And a lot of good things. Things that were really good to have anyway, but who has time to do all that? So
we have to keep Neosporin in the fridge. No,
yeah, just some things like that. And then they also had, like, in the parenting training and the things, and they're like, well, you may be spanking your kids now, but when you're fostering, you can't be spanking. You can't be spanking. But then they also teach you the whys behind that, and other tools and
kids
other
that
options.
Have trauma,
obviously if they've been abused, there's lots of different things. So
wait, can we revisit real quick what did your family say about it? I want to hear. I just wanted to conclude with, my family was skeptical and wanted to make sure we really knew what we were getting into. But once we got the kids, they were on board. Those were their grandkids, and whether they stayed or whether they went back home to the bio parents, they were part of the family.
Yeah, the kids were loved right off the bat.
Support.
When we got the kids, they were absolutely loved by everyone immediately.
Your family's been so accepting of everything too.
And I don't know. I think when I was telling people about it, they probably were thinking, what are you thinking? But I would probably be thinking the same thing if I wasn't in it. You know, it was like we felt like this is what we should do. And so we're like, well, we feel like we're together on this. And that's a key piece. It's like you both need to be together in the plan because it's going to be hard. There are challenges to it. And so if just one of you's on board and the other one's like, nah, then maybe it's not the best.
I'd say go to the classes, learn a little bit more about it. It's
dip
hard
your
to
toe
be
in. You
afraid
can dip your
without
toe in,
knowing
see
what
what
you're
it's
getting into.
like. And then there were many opportunities for us to jump off the bus or get out of the boat. And I remember we had gone through most of the training. In fact, I went and was interviewed, which was like the last thing to do for our home study for us to finish up. And the lady that was our caseworker was asking, so, you know, how are you going to take care of 6 kids? And, you know, what are you going to do then? I remember thinking,
He
well,
came home and
I don't know. I was like, never mind, maybe not. And at the same time, my brother actually happened to move into town right near us, and he had 6 kids. And because he was like right down the street, we were kind of like, all right, I think we have plenty of kids, you know, around us. So we just put the whole thing on hold. We just called up and we're like, we're not sure we're going to continue. My brother lives here. He's got a lot of kids. We have a lot of kids. We're just going to kind of hang tight for a bit.
Just life had changed.
So yeah, so we put it on hold. And then a few months later, my brother moved away. And so then we were back.
And then she called.
And she called and she's like, hey, I think you guys are done. So I'm going to go ahead and close out your case. Is that okay?
And we just
we
looked
were like,
at each other and we're like, let's do this.
Yeah. And she did it twice. The first time she called and we're like, can you just wait a couple more months? She's like, okay. Like, we're praying about it. We're thinking about it. Can we just wait? And she's like, okay. And so 2 months later, it was like November. And she emailed me and she's like, hey, can I close your file yet? And then that's when we talked and we're like, let's do it. Let's just do it. So we're like, actually, no, we're interested. When can we be interviewed and move forward? And so it was definitely baby steps.
But that was for a reason. The timing was
everything is about the timing, and things work out, you know. And we Lisa and I are, you know, faith is important to us, and we prayed a lot throughout the beginning, middle, and throughout and current. And then also, as far as what did our family say about it, we have, you know, 4 kids. And we talked with them a lot about it. And we asked them, you know, what do you think about having another child in the home? And they drew pictures, and some of them would have them be their same age. And they were just, you know, they had who they were hoping to get.
They were really excited about it.
Yeah, they were really excited about it. They thought it would be great. We were actually pretty open with them. The training opens up a world that is foreign to us in a lot of ways.
Pretty much in a bubble in lots of ways.
Just not knowing, I don't know, I think not recognizing the privilege that we have and things. So that was important. But and then we opened it up to the conversation with the kids so that they kind of understood that it's like, you know, there's hard things out there, and it's different. It's not necessarily going to be a happy, smiley kid. We watched Instant Family many times, and we continue to watch it because it's so accurate.
I think the day
the movie.
I know. Didn't we go see them the theater the night that we got licensed?
Yeah. So we went and watched it, and it gets you so excited, and it feels good.
It's a good one to watch because it really does show the process,
the ups and the downs and the ins and outs.
We've watched it many times, and we've gone through each part of this process, and a different part sticks out to us. It really was a well done thing, and it was fun to see what it'd be like.
Yeah, that was a good show. So